Alright, welcome back. We're back at Ep.1 HQ. I hope you enjoyed the last video up at Heysham Head in Morecambe. I think it went down really well. I hope to do more videos on the idiosyncrasies of karting in the UK in the future. I've got a couple planned. We've got a very strange sport here, so there's no end to stuff that we could do. But I'd like to say thank you to everybody on Patreon and everyone that donated via PayPal, because the project that I'm doing today probably wouldn't be possible without that. Thank you. So if you want to sign up to our Patreon, the link's down below. There's some in various tiers. You've got access to some of the behind the scenes footage that we do and we'll be doing in the future, because we've got other projects as well coming along. So if you want early access to them, early access to the videos, yeah, check out our Patreon and get signed up. So the video today, if you know me, if you follow Ep.1, you know I'm a bit reactive. I can be a bit of an arsehole sometimes when I read a headline or read a story and it's not quite accurate. I tend to go off in tangents as well. But recently you would have seen that Rob Smedley has launched his Electroheads karting series. And I've got no problem with that fundamentally. What I do have a problem with is that, once again, we're allowing people that maybe aren't karting lifers, I guess, dictate the narrative of the sport, because the mainstream car racing media only really focus on what Lewis Hamilton has to say, what Rob Smedley has to say about karting, you know, not what the actual people that race karts and have done for years have to say, right? So I know that's quite strong, but I actually blame us for that, because we haven't had not the confidence, but the confidence to be a bit more bolshy with how we talk about the sport, right? So yeah, I've got nothing against the Electroheads program as such. However, there's a few things that got me right, got me sort of I don't know what the word is, got my back up a little bit, right? So first of all, they're using lines like democratise karting. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're having elections, I don't know, referendums. We see this sort of, I know road tax have thrown that phrase out a few years ago. It doesn't really mean anything, but I know what the inference is, right? And then secondly, I think Rob Smedley said, you know, they want to lower the barriers of entry to karting, right? And the inference here is that, and it's off the back of what Lewis Hamilton said last year, that karting's too expensive, it's too exclusive, it's only for the elite, etc., right? But the problem is, it's apples and oranges, right? What's happening is they're talking about national level karting and international level karting and saying that's not accessible to normal people. But what they're not talking about is everything else in karting, right? And there's a whole breadth of karting that is extremely accessible to loads of people on lower incomes, right? But who knows? We don't talk about it, right? I'm not going out and buying a cheap kart and showing you how it can be done affordable. Until now. And I was like, wait a second, we need to prove to people that you can come into karting, you can have the time of your life, you can meet some great people, and you don't really have to spend that much money, right? Now, I am fully aware that the money and the figures that I'm talking about here are a lot of money, right? They're a lot of money to me, especially, but I think relative to what people spend on lower incomes on, maybe games, consoles, TVs, that kind of stuff. I'm in that kind of ballpark, If you go into someone's house and they've got a PlayStation 4, a couple games, and a nice TV, you're not sitting there going, oh, these people are minted, right? So if we take that kind of level of spend, which is about 500 quid, and then we say, right, we're going to take that amount of spend, which is realistic on someone on a lower income, relatively speaking, don't get me wrong, I know people that are in serious financial trouble, so 500 quid is a lot of money. I want to state that. Can we go karting on that money, right? Or buy a kart at least. So I set myself the challenge. I said, right, I'm going to buy a kart for 500 quid. This is what this video is about. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm going to buy a kart for 500 quid, and then I'm going to go and race it, right? And I had to set myself a couple of rules, okay? So first of all, I did break the first rule, which is the kart has to be 500 quid or under. Second rule is the kart has to be raced, and then it has to be raced at a local club, or just a club, because any club is local to someone, right? So it has to be a club meeting that's a monthly meeting. The reason for that is there's a lot of national series promising to reduce costs, budget series. The problem is it's across the whole country, and you're not including travel and hotel, and those are significant costs for a lot of people. So it has to be a local club that someone can theoretically go to, and then not have to book into a hotel. They can go home or they can stay there overnight. It's not too much hassle. It's cheap, and it's not too far away. So you're not spending 40-50 quid on fuel getting there, right? And I think the third rule was I wanted to have a contemporary kart. Now, the reason I wanted a relatively contemporary kart was because I'm too familiar with 100cc karts and old school karts, right? Pre-2000, pre-95. It's too easy for me to walk into that arena with the knowledge that I have and go bang, 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 got a deal, fantastic, let's go and race, right? At a local club. Because the little caveat here is the local clubs that I'm talking about are IKR, and they have open grids. And with an open class, it means that you're a lot more able as a buyer to buy something and go and race it without feeling like it's too much of a risk. I think that's one of the things that I learned, which I'll talk about later in the video, that I've learned through this whole program. So it's going to be a contemporary kart that I can probably go and race at an open IKR grid, and it has to be contemporary because, as I said, if I go into the old school stuff, it's just too easy. People know who I am. They'll be offering me deals, and it's just, I don't think it's a representative of what I'm trying to achieve here, which is to say that karting can be done on a super tight budget. And let's not forget, when you buy a kart for whatever it is, I mean, especially under £1,000, you're going to sell it for pretty much the same money. So all it's going to cost you is the amount that you spend running it, right? So if you spend 500 quid on a kart and you get a good deal, you're going to sell it for 500 quid anyway, right? And then get someone else is back in the sport and you can upgrade, you've got the knowledge. So yeah, contemporary kart can't be old school, though I was kind of open to it if I really needed to, because a Formula A sort of went Fox 100cc engine, which wasn't the best in the time, but it went for like 280 quid, and I was like, oh, I missed it. But I thought I'd go for a contemporary one. So without further ado, you get the idea, and this isn't just for me doing it. I'd like to challenge everyone else. If you'd like to get involved and do this budget kart challenge, give me a sort of a message, and come along and join me racing, because the club that I'm going to be doing at, which I'd like to announce now, is going to be Strubby Woodthorpe Kart Club. They've been overwhelmingly supportive. I've got to say, the guy that I was speaking to there has been absolutely fantastic. They've been really supportive. They even fronted the money for me to do this, which no one else did, because I did approach some other people, but I didn't really want the club to be levied with the cost and the risk. So I basically just sold my car, sold my engine, sold some other stuff so I can do this project, because I think it's worthwhile that for once karting controls its own narrative and we don't let people who have quite a vested interest control what people think of our sport, right? So I'm going to show you the kart now. I'm going to do a little reveal, and yes, let's take a look. Right, follow me. You can't because your camera on a tripod, but the wizardry of editing. As you can see, we've got a lovely floral car cover here. Eat your heart out, car manufacturers at car shows. So, without further ado, this is the kart that I got. I went over budget, I won't lie, but I was offered such a good deal. I thought, I'm going to have to wait another month to find a kart that I think would fit the £500 budget. And in my mind, I was like, and that's another month of hypothetical savings. So, yes, here we go. I got this for £600, which I think is fine. If anybody else does the budget kart challenge, I'll be adding penalties for anything over £500. So I'm going to be penalising myself if you want to join in. I don't know how yet, but we'll figure it out. So here we go. Dun dun dun. Here, there. Imagine the dramatic music over the top. Some dodgy Eurobeat. It's still assembly required. There you go. Dodgy angle, I know. It's a 2014 touring kart with a Rotax Max. Yes, I know what you're going to say. Alan, why have you bought a Rotax Max? You said you didn't like them.
I'm prepared to make a sacrifice to prove a point.
So yes, you're right. I've sold my soul. I've gone for a Rotax. I just couldn't. I put out a wanted ad. I said I got 600 quid. That's my maximum budget. And a guy contacted me. He wasn't familiar with who I was, and he offered me this car. And I was like, he was down the road, and I couldn't say no. You know, at the end of the day, I'm trying to prove a point that you can get into karting on a super tight budget. I know I've broken my first rule, but I think 600 quid is a bargain. And these deals are out there. I wanted to prove that these deals are out there if you want to find them, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is the car that I'm going to be racing at Strubby. This will be at the end of February 23rd. There's a few bits and bobs that I need to do just to check it over. There's some bits and bobs. You can see it's not fully assembled yet, which is, you know, that's fine. There's plenty of information online. Yeah, so there'll be a couple of modifications I'm going to make. I'm going to be covering up the Tony Kart stickers, because here's one of my pet hates, right? You, completely separate, off on a tangent, but you see these kids and they're asking companies for sponsorship, right? Yet they will plaster the manufacturer's logo all over their car, and I'm like, well, wait a second, you're the one paying them. They're not paying you. So if you're going to a potential sponsor and you're saying, look, if you give me 700 quid, I'll put your sticker on my car. And it's like, well, why have you got the sticker of the manufacturer all over your car? Because you're paying them, they're not paying you. So, yes, I'll be covering that up. That's just me, that's like a little lesson. We've got a whole car, you know, and we're ready to go racing. So, yes, if I'll keep you updated with the progress when it's fully complete. And I'm just going to try and keep costs as low as possible, right? I want to come out of this project and say, this is how much we spent, this is how much we sold the kart for. And, you know, like racing at Strubby's like 50 quid, fuel's what, 15 quid? Tyres are open, so you can pick them up well cheap. You could probably pick up a set of Vega Whites for 20 quid. You know, let's keep the budget as low as possible, and prove to people that who are interested in karting, don't just read the headlines. You can do this sport on a super tight budget, right? There are people out there that I know have been ripped off, you know, and spent too much when they've got into the sport. There's someone on our forum years ago spent $6,000 after a very well-known business convinced them to buy a kart that was no longer racing regularly, for, you know, and so I'm just wanting to prove that yes, their deals are there. There's plenty of karts at sort of this sort of price range. I know people are kind of at the 800, 900 range, but if you're patient, you can find a deal, right? And you can go racing, you can go karting on the cheap, and you can get a contemporary kart like this, you know, not some rusty old banger. So yes, I'll do another video soon with some of the little things that you need to look out for when you buy a kart, or maybe I won't, I'll tell you now. If you see rust on the axle, that's always a bit of a red flag, because it means it's been left for a long time or left outside. I think you see a lot of karts where they're like shiny pods because they've jet washed it and everything else is brown. Yes, always check for cracks on all karts really, but particularly the OTK stuff. And other than that, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like with the open classes, you can really sort of run whatever, you know, as long as you're not turning up with like a, you know, I don't know, CBR 600 engine welded to the back of the thing. You know, you're gonna be allowed out. Plus, you got modern pods, which is a little less of a headache if you're going to a club, and they might be like, well, you need to run contemporary pods. You know, some of the older stuff, you know, the old school bodywork. You know, it just alleviates some of the stress a little bit. But yeah, I'm proving the point. I think so far we're doing well. I know I've gone over budget. I know, but I think this is a good start, and I'm hoping that other people can get inspired and join me, man. If you want to race, we've got a month and a bit. You know, I'd love to see you there. I've got a few of my guys that are interested, looking at karts already, and I think it'd be quite cool. Let's race some budget karts and have a bit of a laugh. Who cares who wins or who finishes fifth? You know, not all of karting has to be, you know, obsession with like every little bit has to be the same. You're trying to, you know, sometimes you can get a kart cheap, go and have a bit of a laugh. You know, you might end up with a TKM if you're unlucky. I couldn't bring myself to get a TKM. It was really either right. I mean, I know I'm going on. I would love to make like really tight edited videos, and I'm a bit far away from the camera, so I hope you can pick me up. I learned a lot about the karting market buying this kart, right? Firstly, Rotax Evo, I think, has depressed the costs of a pre-Evo engine, and seals drop the price even. Well, if you haven't got a seal on a Rotax, that drops the price even further. But there's so many Rotaxes on the market, you can see why the class is able to be so stable for so many years. It's not the products themselves when they come out, it's the sort of stability of the second-hand market. And Rotax has that in spades. You've got TKMs, which are dirt cheap. I couldn't bring myself to get a TKM. I think TKM, I have done TKM in the past, but it sort of heralded an era before. I mean, it was the Rotax before Rotax, and I know people aren't going to like that, but it sort of was this country, at least in the UK, it was like the spark that really burned 100cc racing as a contemporary sort of pursuit. As much as I love the old karts, trust me, I am a purist. Like, you know, I ain't comfortable owning a Rotax, but like I said, you know, it's got to be done to prove a point. Hundreds, there's so many cheap hundreds, you know, pre-2000, pre-95. Some of the costs have inflated because some karts are fashionable. You know, DSD Rotaxes are fashionable, so they go up in price. You know, then the VR98 comes in, and that's fashionable, and that goes up in price. But there's some, you know, you can find like maybe a married car with a TKM K100 on it, or whatever reed valve or rotary valve TKM used to make, for like 400 quid. But like I said, I didn't want to go that route because I don't think it was too easy for me to do it, right? So, yes, let's end the video there. I'm mildly uncomfortable standing here, just over the car. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I can do a little walk around the car soon. I've got some, you know, give some tips on what to look out for. There's going to be, the thing is, with a second-hand car, there's always going to be things where you're like, ugh, why didn't I spot that? Why didn't I see that? But yeah, let's go. Let's get the project moving. Like I said, if you want to sign up on Patreon, please do. It helps so much. We're trying to promote karting here at Ep.1. We're trying to get people excited and like, you can do it on a budget. You know, we're competing with sims now, people, simulators, and they are going to do us in. I am a simmer, and I'm seeing like simming is going to just wipe us out, and then it's going to be all arrive and drive, and there's going to be no owner driver karting, and it's going to be pants. You know, we want to promote karting. We've got another project coming up which is going to be like unbelievable. So please sign up on Patreon. Every penny helps. You know, I put all my money into this, and every little donation makes it so much easier to do this sort of project, right? And what else? Yeah, PayPal. You can donate on PayPal if you want. I know people think they found it a bit easier to do that, so do that if you want. So, yep, thanks for watching. I would prefer it to be... I will say, like, if someone's saying it's a bit like Car Throttle, you're right. I have been very much inspired by what they've been doing, and I think it's been fantastic. You know, £500 challenges to buy cars. But, like, this car, even though it's a Rotax, will beat any car, any track car. You know, you have to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds to get anything near close to even a Rotax, for Christ's sake, you know? So, it just blows my mind that we're like, even having to like tell people, you know, like we're reintroducing ourselves all of the time, you know? So yes, thanks for watching. I'm going to go and straighten my back out now, and yeah, tune in soon. I hope to have a few more updates. But yeah, if you want to get involved, right, just message me. You know, it'd be cool because it'll be 23rd of February. I'm hoping to race. That's the goal, right? And then after that, we'll see. So if you want to get involved, Woodthorpe Kart Club, check out their regs. They've got an open class, they've got a road tax class. I prefer to do the open class, even though I think people they prefer me to do the road tax class. This is sealed, so it's legal. But yeah, please get in touch, get involved if you want to get involved. Yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, let's see how it goes.